system is responsible for controlling and coordinating all bodily functions. It gathers information from the environment, processes it, and sends signals to different parts of the body to respond appropriately. Neurons are the building blocks of the nervous system. A neuron is the basic unit of the nervous system specialized for transmitting information throughout the body. It is a type of nerve cell that processes and carries electrical and chemical signals. There are three types of neurons: the sensory neurons, the motor neurons, and the interneurons. The central nervous system, made up of the brain and the spinal cord, consists mainly of interneurons, which processes and relay information. The peripheral nervous system consists of sensory neurons, which carry signals to the central nervous system, and motor neurons that sends commands from the central nervous system to muscles and glands. Together, they work to perform nervous system function. A neuron is structured into five main parts as labeled in the diagram. The dendrites are branch-like extensions that receive signals from other neurons and transmit them to the cell body. The cell body, or called the soma, contains nucleus and organelles to maintain the cell's functions. The soma then sends an electrical signal down the axon, a long thread-like structure that carries electrical impulses from the cell towards other neurons. The myelin sheath is a fatty coating around the axon, which acts like an insulator to speed up the signal transmission. The signal then reaches the axon terminals, where it gets released into the synapse to be picked up by other neurons. Neurons communicate through electrical impulses and chemical signals at the synapses. Electrical signals in the neurons are called action potentials, which are rapid changes in voltage across the neuron's membrane. When a neuron is stimulated, a rapid change in voltage that travels down the axon like a wave, aided by the myelin sheath that speeds up this process. Action potentials allow neurons to transmit signals quickly over long distances, for instance, from your spinal cord to your toes. Chemical signals, known as neurotransmitters, are chemical messengers that neurons use to communicate with other neurons, muscles, or glands at the synapses. When an action potential reaches the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron, it triggers the release of neurotransmitters into a tiny gap between the neurons called the synaptic cleft. The neurotransmitters then bind to the receptors of the postsynaptic neuron, triggering a new electrical signal. The neurotransmitters released to the synapse by the presynaptic neuron that do not bind to the receptors on the postsynaptic neuron will be reabsorbed and recycled in a process called reuptake. Together, the action potentials and the neurotransmitters work to communicate and control everything from reflexes to thoughts and emotions.